Welcome, gamers, to Dominion 6 Rise of the Pantocrator. My name is Dash Tactic. Welcome to this series. It's going to be fairly long in each episode. Will probably be like a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours. And I'll probably try to get this over and done with in maybe 2 or 3 episodes. So we'll have a bit of content for the launch of Dominion 6. At the same time, I'm putting up a series of tutorials for Dominion 6 as well. And these will be more about talking about specific elements within the game. So if you're wanting to understand a particular game mechanic or how a particular screen operates, then I should actually hopefully have a tutorial about that at some point in the coming months. I've already recorded a lot of that series, and there's a lot more to do. So that will be drip fed across over the next maybe 6 weeks or so. That will be the for that particular tutorial series. But I did want to get something out. If you are interested, you can then just watch these. And this is going to be a primer for new players or beginning players or players who maybe have bought the previous games but felt daunted by the supposed complexity of the game. Is it complex? No, it's really simple. I'm joking. It is a complex game. I won't lie. It is complex, but it is so rewarding to play. And you don't have to min-max. I will be explaining what my thought process is. I'm going to be playing with a faction that I haven't played before, one of the new factions in the game. Now, if you've got Dom 5 and you haven't played it much, and you're thinking, will I play Dom 6 if I get it? I don't know. That's up to you. I hope that this series and also my tutorial series does help to inspire people to actually pick up the game and play it. I would also suggest, if you are wanting to really experience Dominions, that you at least play one multiplayer game. The community is great like this. What it does do is it actually does have games that they organise for players who are new, where somebody who's experienced will then help people, give them a bit of guidance as they play, which is just awesome. It's just an incredible community, the Dominions community. I mean, it has been for decades. It's just incredible. Anyway, shout out to everyone who has done anything in the community over the years. It's my hat goes out off to you. It really is. It's such an awesome community. And having said that, some of the multiplayer games can get a little bit heated because a lot does go on, but Dominion 6 has actually changed things to make even that much better than what it has been before. So there's so many changes in Dominion 6. I don't want to go through them because we're going to be here all day if I do that. So let's just go and create a world. We've got new ways of creating worlds. I'm just going to go and create this one through here, which I haven't really tried. I like the idea of it. This one is you can't settle in the middle of the map. You can only settle along the coastlines. I'm disabling the east-west wraparound, which is usually on by default. I'm going to be playing with medium provinces per player, and so we're only going to have maybe sort of 2 on one side of the divide, another 2 on the other side. Just click on OK. I'm going to call this one Primer because this really is a primer for new players. I'm going to be playing the Middle Ages because there is one faction there that I haven't played yet. So we'll just go across. Now, every screen that you come across in Dominions, no matter how deep you get into something, press the shift question mark. It's so helpful with what you can actually then go and do. And so what we're going to be doing through here is we're going to get rid of a couple. I'm going to press the backspace twice, get it down to just 4 players, so only a small map. I'm going to go Shift L to make them all land nations, and I'm going to choose my land nation. My land nation is going to be down the bottom here, the Nidavangr. Nidavangr, the bear, wolf, and crow tribes, which I have had a bit of a read of. These are essentially, I might just go in and we'll start with that one. So we'll just start there, and then I'll talk about how we're going to be attacking the actual playthrough itself. So the important bits, let's just skip ahead. Now, it is important to read this. The game, every single faction is loosely tied back to some real world mythology in some sense, and it's quite incredible the way they've done it. It's not your traditional mythology; it's just inspired by it and tweaked by it, and makes it a bit more like almost like a modern story where things aren't exactly as you would have read in the classics, but they certainly harken back to that. Now, what we have in through here, the Nidavangr are composed of 3 clans named after their totemic animals, the bear, wolf, and crow. The warriors of the clans adopt the battle tactics of their totem. The clans are ruled by jarls, which are sort of like military commanders, essentially. But it's the Seath Berenders, the clan shaman, who are the true masters of Nidavangr, and the ones who perform the Nidalogning, Nidbath on the sacred warriors of the Jaldum. Now, that's not going to mean much until we actually have a bit of a look at it. So let's just cut to the chase. What do we have? We're humans of barbarian descent. Now, what that means is we're going to be a bit stronger than your standard human, but we're going to be more undisciplined. We're going to be sort of all over the place, which is a bad thing. We have partial cold resistance. We prefer cold scale of +2, which is actually very, very cold. Military, we have some stealthy raiding infantry, we have berserking infantry, and we have semi-immortal sacreds, which sounds really, really interesting. The magic, we have death, astral, air, nature, water, and some earth and blood. Now, what's missing from here is glamour, and it does talk about the backstory that basically we don't like the glamour of the Vanir. The Vanir are like the elves, the Nordic elves, and we're sort of like Nordic barbarian tribesmen, essentially. So we're much more human. We're not the giants, the Jotun giants. We're not the giants, but we're not the elves. And so we're sort of just eking our way out in the frozen wastes with what we can with our sort of semi-barbarian tribes of the of the wolf, bear, and crow clans, and all the different benefits that they actually have. The priests are weak but can perform blood sacrifices. The dominion can scry. Now that means that when we actually have dominion into land, it does say accurate and automatic military reports inside dominion. That's not that big a deal, but it will help a little bit. I don't know if that means that we see hidden units. I'm guessing it doesn't. Maybe it does. That would be interesting as well. Now, scales and blesses. Turmoil goes up by +1 and cold goes up by +1. Turmoil is very much a barbarian sort of style of way of playing. I don't think I've been wanting to go that way, no matter what. If this is a primer for new players, I'm not going to do things that are wildly out of whack. We don't we're still a human faction, so turmoil is not something that would be all that good for us, and I'll show you why when we get into the next screen. Buildings are standard forts. Okay, so we can build standard forts. Temples cost 300. Now, normally temples cost 600, so our temples are half price. That means that Dominion is important. We're seeing it important in through here. Now, let's have a look at the units, or let's actually have a look at the special sites we have. We only have one. This is Nidaketri. Nidaketl is the actual site itself. This is a site that enables the recruitment of the Crow clan Seath Berenda. We'll have a look at them in a minute. The Nidhir and the Nidbathed in through this other side as well. Produces 3 death gems, 1 air gem, and 1 astral gem. We can hover over them to see what they're actually got in through that side. So mainly death gems. We're going to have a lot of death gems. Now, we can look at different things. I always like to see what sacred units have I got, how important are they for my faction. In this case, I know when we talk about the Nithbathed, ghastly warriors who are not even stopped by death, that's got to be these guys. Yeah, the Nithbathed in through here can only be recruited in the capital. Now, this is a big limitation if you're playing against a lot of other players, because it means you're not going to be able to pump out massive armies of them. The limitations, if we have a look at this one through here, these are sacred, which means that pretty much we're only going to be able to get the number of these that is sort of, initially it's going to be our dominion. So our dominion scales will be important for us to be able to recruit as many of these as possible. And we can only recruit from the capital. So we need to get our dominion way high, ultimately. Now, we can do that through building temples, which is why having those temples is such a great thing to be able to build them cheaply. We're going to be building them all over the place. So that will, just to sort of get so that we can actually buy more and more sacreds as we play the game. They have this special ability. So the Nithbathed, Nidaglade, are ghastly warriors who not even stopped by death. In a horrible ritual administered by the Seathbenders, a clan champion is bathed in the black water of the Nidaketl. During the ritual, his fellow warriors cut deep wounds in his flesh before taking their own lives. Scarred by both the loss of his friends and the cuts in his flesh, the Gethbathed undergoes a gruesome transformation. His flesh turns white, while his scars and eyes turn black as night. Each scar on his body represents the strength and death of a friend. If the Nithbethed is killed, one of his scars turns red and he rises again. Unkillable as long as his friends' deaths hold him alive. Being unkillable, the Nithbethed don't care much for shields. Instead they fight with heavy great swords, able to cut down even the mightiest of Jotuns. The success of the Nidavangr is dependent on the might of the god, and the number of scar souls equals half the dominion score in the province. So when they go into a province, again, dominion is going to be super important for having these guys fight effectively, because essentially, like if we've got a dominion of say 6, it means he's got 3 deaths in the battle, before he actually then dies for good. Now, there's a few little things with this. Let's have a look and see what happens with the Scar Souls. So this, I think it must be unique to this faction actually. This unit has been soaked in the waters of Nidaketl and will not die if killed. Every time he is killed, one Scar Soul will turn red, fade and die in his stead. If the Nithbethed is drowned, petrified or destroyed by a disintegrate spell, the Scar Souls will not protect him. But if his soul is slain, one Scar Soul is killed and the Nithbethed survives. Now what that means is, I don't know if he gets his health back. I think he just basically just die that hit, and he just keeps on fighting. So he'll still take damage. He'll still take wounds. He can still get very serious wounds coming in against him, which is not good. I don't think he actually sort of resurrects or doesn't come back. I don't think he does. But it says if he's drowned. Now this means we can't afford to take him underwater. That's important for us to know. So he becomes almost like a normal unit if that's the case. Right, so that's the special abilities that he actually has. So that's really, we're going to have to sort of structure everything around that if we're going to use that one. The other factions, do we have any more Sacreds? No, we don't. These have got special abilities like Formation Fighter, which means we can fit an extra 1 into a square. Like we'd normally be able to get at size 3, 10 in a square. This is a Formation Fighter of 2, which means we can have the square would now be worth 12, which means we can have 3 times 4, 4 different units in the square is what we can have for a Formation Fighter. These are ambidextrous as well. Like these have got 2 short swords, so their protection is fairly weak. They don't actually have a shield or anything. Do we have any shield units? We've got this is weird as well. Just seeing this is undisciplined. This is like a barbarian type group. So this is more your barbarians. These will be bigger and stronger than normal, but with other problems. This one is a bad formation fighter of -2. So instead of having 3 in an area, we can only have 2 of these in one area. Interesting the way this one does work. It's also a berserker. Okay, so that's going to go, when it does go berserker, it'll do even more damage. The damage is good, I've got to say. That is very, very good damage. Defense skill is poor. Protection is not bad with the scale mail hauberk and the half helmet. So this is actually reasonable. The next one we have is the Wolf Clan Reaver. So this one looks like it's got the shield. So we probably end up using this one a lot. It's pretty cheap as well, like 11 gold, 14 resources. Stats are very average. Even its overall protection is average, but it still has a shield, which it'll give it a lot of survivability just having that shield there with 4 parry. Certainly make a difference. I'm not going to explain all the details about this, but I'm just trying to get a feel. In my head, I'm thinking, what is the role of each of these? And this one here, with the broadsword and the shield and the javelin, can sort of be almost like a frontline fighter, and also it's stealthy as well. So these can be used for sneak attacks if required. Then we actually have a Crow Clan Archer. The important thing here is just make sure the range is reasonable. 35 is fine with the short bow, but it's the precision. 11 precision here and 11 precision in the short bow. 11 damage. This is actually reasonable. This is pretty good. Having anything over 10 is great for precision, and so 11 is fine. This is really, really cool. This one helps enormously. It's funny, like up until 10, like from whatever to 10 is very, very average, but then suddenly beyond 10, it becomes exponentially better and better and better. So 11 is good. When they get experience, that should go up and again another precision, I hope. I think it will. So if we can keep them with survivability, that will work out fairly well. Then we actually have a Cub Warrior. This one here is just a 11 hit points. These are also undisciplined skirmisher units. Okay, we can actually have 3 of these in a group. Their defense skill is poor. Their protection is even worse. So these are just wearing furs. So in the perpetual war, even the young must fight for survival. Cub warriors are young nidlings or niddings who have not yet come of age. Each of them is given a fur, a weapon, and an obligation to kill. Once they have slain, they are shunned. Sorry, until they are slain, they are shunned and not allowed to enter any settlement. If they survive, they are allowed to return to society and are fully accepted by their clan. Cub warriors will have to prove themselves and refuse to break in combat. Being young and receptive to coaxing, it is quite common for cub warriors to be persuaded or coerced to give their lives in the horrible ritual known as the Nidavangr. So I'm guessing we'll be having that as well at some point. That'll be some sort of event. I'm not sure when that one does come. I've never played this faction, so this will be interesting to see what does come on with this one here. So anyway, that's the units. It's a pretty weak group, to be honest, which is going to make it a little bit hard. I think we have to rely on superior numbers. We've got different tactics across the board there as well. Only one unit that really can, like the Wolf Clan Reavers, are the only ones that can be really used as a frontline troop. The rest of them really aren't. The archers are good, so we do have good archers. That's useful to know. Let's have a look at the leaders again, starting at the more expensive end. The Crow Clan Seathbender. This is undisputedly the most powerful mages in Nidavangr, taking the shape of the crow. They travel far and wide and gather information. They advise the Jarls and Hearses and guide the Seathbenders of the other clans. In all but name, they are the masters of Nidavangr. So these will cost a lot of recruitment points, a lot of gold. They do have 2 death, 2 astral, 1 air, and they then have a mix of different other things that they could end up getting as well. So potentially we could end up with like quite potentially, if we have enough of these, a death 4 mage. These are old though, so they come in already at 118 years old, which means they're not going to last long. They are sacred, but we can actually sort of make them better with their survivability by different bless strategies if we wanted to go that way. I don't think these are actually, this one's a shape changer into a crow. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so that's that one. Then we have the Nid here, can only be recruited in the capital. This one here is again one of these ones with the Scar Souls. These actually are inspirational, so they do actually give an extra morale boost to everything in combat with them. So these are the leaders of what we saw there before. These are also priest level 1s when they do come in, and they're sacred as well. Then we have the Wolf Clan Seathbenders. So these are nature and water. Interesting. With no extras. That's all they actually have, is just those 2 there. They do give a supply bonus, which, again, if we have big armies, that could be good. And they do shape change into a wolf as required. All right, so reasonable. Only 2 recruitment points. A lot cheaper, and we're going to get pretty reasonable. If we have a look at this one, this one's 19, whereas the other one's 11. So probably start off with those. Now we've got the Seathbender Apprentices. These are not good at research, but not terrible. These are also sacred, only 5 research, and a bit of a mix of different sorts of magic in through there. Much cheaper, of course, but not really. Oh, maybe. Is it worth it? Not sure. Then we have the Nidjal. Good leadership, which is important. We are going to need some good leaders. We're going to need some exceptional leaders, actually, with what we're doing. So that's one group. Then we have the Nidhurst. These are 75 leadership, which means that they basically can't do the special setups, but they can still take 2 squads into battle. So these are not great leaders. They're okay. They're pretty cheap overall. Yeah, I'm just also looking to see if we can make them into thugs. Potentially we could. They start with an iron cap, chainmail hauberk, and a shield, which is actually a good start. They do have the broadsword and the javelin. Then they don't have stealth, which is interesting. So that's the Nidhurst. We just looked at them. Then we actually have the Bear Clan Cub Mother. And so this one here is, this one nurtures the young. So this is a female. Again, she's a cub mother. So this commander is exceptionally good at leading unruly youngsters. So Cub Warriors units under her command are not restricted to skirmish formations and can be given specific battle orders. That's interesting. So if we have one of these, they can only got 50 leadership. You can only have one squad, so she's going to have to just look after that one squad. She has a morale bonus typically of -1, but I think she would then get a bonus. Does she get the bonus? No, maybe not. A trained skirmisher does not suffer a morale penalty when fighting in skirmish or sparse line formation. All members of the squad must have this ability. That's okay. So we can do that as well. Again, Berserker for her. So she's a frontline fighter, and then we actually have the Clan Scout, which is a stealthy one as well, who does actually have the dagger and the short bow. So this one can take the hidden units in. Do our normal archers also have? Yeah, they're stealthy as well. So our normal archers are also stealthy. So this is giving us a bit of a feel for what we would need to do to play this. It's actually going to be hard. But that's why, I want to show that you can still have fun with the game, even when it is really, really unusual. So just having a look at this one, just as a real quick summary, we are going to need to rely pretty heavily on these. We're going to need to have a high Dominion score. To make use of that, we're going to have to look at the bless strategies available to us to figure out how we want to buff them up, because at the end of the game, they're probably going to be really, really important. We're going to need to focus, as I say, very heavily on Dominion and also very heavily on the priests. Now, we don't actually have good priests. These are just low level. In fact, that's not even that's a level 1 priest. So our priesthood is actually very, very weak. These are sort of magic users and priests at the same time. So we're going to have an interesting time ahead of us, I think, playing as these. So when here, what should we look for? I think what we'll look for is some blesses that we can put onto those those undying fighters that we actually have. So if we go and press B, I can bring up all the bless points. Again, if I just go and show you the question marks, there's so many useful things. The possible bless effects, possible magic items, the spells, view researchable spells. There's some really, really cool stuff in here. So we're just going to go through and start with the bless, because we are going to need to use the bless. Now what we want is something that's probably going to keep them healing out of combat, so that when they come back in, they actually, that would be one thing we could do. Would be or to give them even more protection, so that they end up with more natural protection. There's these sorts of things that we could then go and do. Like the attack skill, not so much. I think we're going to be okay with that. So we don't need fire. We don't have fire anyway, natively. Fast shot and these sorts of things are more to do with ranged units, not going to really worry us. Back in through here, swimming, not really going to worry us. Slowing weapons, so attacks from blessed units will make those hit apathetic and slow unless they resist the effect. So that's something that could be okay at 5 water. Vitriol weapons, we need to get fire, which we don't have. Frost mist weapons, these are a bit more expensive. Attacks from blessed units will produce a cloud of cold intense enough to harm those in the area. So area 1, cold cloud of 3. Now we have cold protection, a little bit of cold protection, so that wouldn't really worry us so much. That's interesting as well. That will fatigue who we're going up against, which will make them easier to hit. But it's only going to work when we're actually in the fighting. Quickness is another great one for us as well. Blessed units are quickened. Quickened units move and attack twice as fast and get +2 to their attack and defense skill. So we're going to be able to dodge better. We're going to be able to hit better with what we have. We know we do good damage. That's a great one for us. Then we have some of the others. So we actually have this one here, reinvigoration. This recovers fatigue. That shouldn't really worry us too much. Unbreakable. So blessed units will be very resistant to getting permanent battle afflictions. So 75% protection from afflictions. That would be good. That's Earth 4 to get that one. Larger. So all sacred units of size 9 or less will be larger, stronger, and able to withstand more damage. So it's plus 30% hit points. Now, we don't have much anyway. We're not giants, so I don't think we'll worry about that one. Reconstruction. All sacred inanimate units. Yeah, that's not going to worry us. Hard skin. +5 natural protection would be pretty awesome as well. Fortitude. Blessed units will be more resistant to all physical damage. So half damage from pierce, slash, and blunt weapons. Wow, that's good as well. What's it, about 8? It looks like it costs 7 bless points and 7 earth. There's some good stuff there. Etherealness as well, down through here, like this one here. Blessed units will be very difficult to harm with non-magical damage, such as mundane weapons or from spells such as Blade Wind, 75% chance to negate damage. Ethereal units are also able to pass through solid objects such as castle walls. That would be awesome as well. God, there's so many good things here. We have Twist Fate. There's a few things in here that wouldn't be bad. Fear is a good one to sort of make the enemies run. So blessed units become extremely frightening and nearby enemies flee, risk fleeing. And that's how you win the battles, basically. Death weapons, don't really need to worry about that one so much. I mean, this sort of is in line with where we would be. This one here, resilient, able to stand more damage before they die. So +1 hit points. Not bad for just 1 nature. That's actually not bad at all. So yeah, we just require 1 bless point and 1 nature. What else have we got? Unaging. So all sacred units are granted long lives by their god and only age 1 year every 4. That means that when we bring in those high level mages, they're going to survive. So that's something we could look at. Poison weapons, we don't need to worry about that. Recuperation. All sacred units will heal battle afflictions over time outside of battle. Recuperation does not work on undead, lifeless, spirit form beings and those who suffer from old age. But it would be fine for our guys because we're not undead. We just come back to life. Berserker, we don't need to worry about that one. Bark skin. So blessed units will receive a bark-like skin. It's very difficult to damage, so +7. Natural protection. That's a massive one for us. Regeneration as well. So blessed units will... No, we're not really strong enough to have the regeneration. God, there's some good ones in here. I won't choose these. It feels a bit out of theme to use those, and we won't worry about blood magic. So we've got a lot in through here. Like nature looks good for us. Astral looks good for us. Earth looks good for us. Water looks good for us. So what have we got? Water, earth, astral, and nature. All right, so let's go and focus on what we can actually do with those. If we just press escape, now that we've got a bit of a feel of that, we can now go into the physical forms. And again, if I'm just, by default, it's going to look like this. If you press the tab key, you then get to see the magic paths that they start with. Now, we know that we want high dominion. So I'm pretty much, and I would suggest if you're a new player, stick with these top ones if you can. Look at this one here. Nature, astral, and earth. We've got all of them. We've got the full kit with this particular one right from the very, very start. Just this monolith. Sometimes they'll be cheaper for your faction. None of these top ones are. These are inanimates. The reason these are good for new players is because you can't really easily move them around. So they sit inside your main area and just do what they do basically, which is great. And so you're not tempted to put them into risky situations. The next group down through here are basically your titans. These are strong and can still move. Now we do actually have we have a few that would be okay. This one here with the nature and the earth. It also gives us growth as well. This one's just all nature. Then we have the animals, the big animals. These are like super combatants that can actually sort of do a lot of damage when they go into combat. But these are hard to sort of they're not intelligent or not very intelligent, and so they're difficult to sort of change the magic paths. I mean, all of these are fairly difficult to change the magic paths, but particularly the animals. And then we have the just the humans down the bottom through here, or the human-like creatures. And again, these are easy to buff into the different areas, but I think we might just choose this one, like without thinking about it too much. Let's just go there. And because we know that we need to have it, we start with Dominions 4 because it's a Dominions 4 unit. And let's just make a wish list of things. So let's just make them say you go to level 5 in all 3 areas. Don't worry about the design points at this stage. We're just going to sort of just noodle around and see what we end up getting. At 5, 5, and 5, and we click on the actual add bless effects, what do we end up having? This gives us a feel for what we can actually then go and do. So what would we like? What's most important to us? If we just hover over these ones, we can see down the bottom there. The first successive attack against blessed units will be negated by the twist fate effect. So the first attack will actually be mitigated. That's if we end up with 6. Magic weapons. So attacks from blessed units will count as magical. They'll be able to hit and damage ethereal and invulnerable units without any penalties. I don't think we have to worry about that one. So this will affect all weapons except natural ranged attacks such as Mind Blast and Breath weapons. Arcane Finesse. Yeah, we don't need to do that one. Farcast, we don't need that one. Magic Resistance, we don't need that one. We don't need that one. So really at this stage, etherealness would be nice. Fate Weaving. So blessed units will be observed by the fates. Anyone striking the unit will have their fates. No, we don't need that either. Yep, so that makes it everyone unlucky that comes up against us. So that's possible. Backing through here, we have recuperation. So all sacred units will heal battle afflictions over time outside of battle. I like the idea of that one. And that one is actually just a 5. So 5 blessed points with nature 5. So we could do that one straight away. Unaging is an interesting one as well. So all sacred units are granted long lives by their god. And only age 1. Yeah, that's for the high level guys. That wouldn't be too bad. Bark Skin at 6. That's actually massive. God, these two in here. I don't think we can get both. Regeneration is we don't need that. So if we went to say 6, let's forget about this, and let's have a look and see if there's any of these other ones that would be good. Unbreakable. Blessed units are very resilient to getting permanent battle afflictions, so it's 75% at protection from afflictions in battle, and that's going to help us. Even that along with regenerate, no, with bark skin, that would sort of work. You know, that's what's that? That's just 4 earth and 6 nature, and we get rid of those. 4 earth, 6 nature. Still gives us 72 at the end there. Let's just go back into the bless effects. So that would give us bark skin, and it would then give us unbreakable. We only need 4. We only need 4 earth in there. Yeah, so that's fine. Then we've got -2 blessed points left. So we've actually gone. We need to get more. If we go with, we probably don't need nature as such. It's 0 points there with. I don't think I want that one. I think I prefer to have some of the others actually. That takes us up to, actually it is cheaper to just go this way. It leaves us with 48. Okay, so that gives us a bit of stuff we can then play with down in here. And this is if it's awake. So we don't have to do this one, but we've got 0 bless effects now, so we've got this one back to where it needed to be. Unbreakable is used, is not a incarnate only, so this one here will be around no matter what, and it's only bark skin will then kick in when the monolith is on the field. Now, if it's awake, it's going to be there from the start. If it's dormant, it'll be 1 year. If it's imprisoned, it'll be 3 years. Let's have a look now at this. And I don't think these are all that important, to be honest, overall. You saw that we had turmoil. We can essentially go to turmoil 3 if we had to, which I don't want to do. I prefer to keep that either level or even a bit more. I can only go to level 1 there with the actual with the order. So I think I'll just keep that one neutral. I'm going to be wanting to pump this up as much as I possibly can. I don't need a hell of a lot of resources. Income and resources goes up a little bit. Let's just get one of those. Let's go even more cold. And so this is going to then reduce our income a little bit. Resources will be okay. Supplies will go down a little bit. That should still be okay. But it gives us more points back again. Now the growth. I don't think that's important for us either. We don't want to go to death. We don't want to go to death, but we don't need to go the other way either. Now, luck. It can be good to just get the positive luck. And magic. Don't think we need to worry about that either, to be honest. So let's go dormant. So we come out after 1 year. We've got 158. How much dominion can we actually pump out here? How much can we get? We can get up to 10 Dominion. That's the maximum we can get anyway. We've still got 11 points. Makes it -3. If we go back to 2, yep, can't do that one. So I think we're stuck with this. Now, do we want to get any of the others? We don't really know, so it doesn't really matter that much. I'm happy enough with what we've got. Now, another tip I'll give you, like with what we have through here, I'm sort of thinking that this is actually reasonable, but we don't know. So if you just press the shift question mark again, you'll see that there's actually a Control L to load a pretender, Control S to save the current pretender design, and Control Shift S to save the pretender as an AI template mod data. I'm just going to save it as a pretender design. So that way, if I forget what I've done and I want to tweak it or change it, I can bring it back in. So we're going to go Control S, and we're just going to enter the name of the god. Nidrim will do. Sorry, Nidrim. That'll do. The Rock. Nidrim the Rock. That'll be the name of our god. So our clans will be wanting to elevate their totem, their monolith, to be the god of the world. So that's now been saved. I can go Control L and bring this one back in if I wanted to, and so I can delete these if I end up with more of them. But it's a nice way just to remember what you had done. So anyway, that's where we are. Let's just go without overthinking it too much. Now we're over half an hour, which is actually okay. I'm actually happy with that. I thought we'd be longer. So all praise Nidrim the Rock. Now, setting up the world. I'm not going to change anything in the top. I am going to change random events are rare is fine. Story events are minor story events are enabled, so we end up with a bit of role play. I'm going to put the score graphs on just so we can see where we stand in the world. Diplomacy is binding. I'll leave that one on. This is new. I'm going to leave that all on defaults back and through there. I'm going to turn on renaming is allowed, so that will be so I can rename them. In the thrones, we have the default is to have victory by ascension. You can have a cataclysm. I'm going to keep that off in this instance, so you can actually have it where basically things crash and burn. Let's go and add a couple more thrones to what we're seeing. So we've got 6 thrones, but we only need 4 of them to win the game. That'll do us. They're only level 1 thrones. Or yeah, let's do it that way. Or maybe we go still and leave 4 and have 1 level 2 throne. So that would mean that we only need half of these in this one, or all of these, basically, to win the game. So that'll do us. And we'll just click on OK. Job done. So the thrones of ascension are essentially objectives. Now it's going to then build the world. The random map now has got all sorts of other different things in it than what it had before. You won't notice it much, but there are all sorts of ways that it will then sort of be able to terraform the land over time if required, which is very, very cool. The overall scale of the game is bigger as well. Not so much the map, but the actual units, etc. The game can now hold a lot more, so they've actually built that into it. So Nidrim the Rock, god of Nidavangr. It's spring in the year 0 of the Ascension Wars. In the beginning there was chaos. This will always be the same sort of message. And again, this will be the same sort of message as well. We don't need to watch that. We don't need to read it. So we're on the coast, which is we knew we were going to start through here. Now we have got a few different areas around us. Actually, we can see a few interesting things on the map right from the start. We've got a few different areas. This gateway goes to another plane that we don't know much about. This one goes to a gateway to Deep Gorge Cavern. And if we have a look at this one through here, we now actually have the Pantocrator's realm is number 1. Number 2 is the realm beneath. And if we click on that one, we should then see this is the way through to Deep Gorge Cavern. And so it looks like there's other areas that then connect off to this one. And so if we do come into this area, we'll be able to then have a bit of a look. So what's in here? If we just go and right click on this one, this is terrain, a drip cave. Drip caves have got excellent resources. Okay, that's interesting. So that would be a cool one for us to get hold of. If we just go back up again to the surface, so that's where we were, just underneath there. This is Scrawl Point. Now, when we have Dominion, Now it's interesting. We should be the scrying should be kicking in here because we do have Dominion, but we're not seeing the actual enemies in here. So I thought we were going to get that. We'll check that one out fairly soon. I'll just scroll in a little bit. And so we have a scroll point. Terrains are plains and mountains and river. So there's actually mountains that run down the side, which will then block this one. So we can't go from Midge Fens into Scrawl Point, but we can walk this way across, like there's a bit of a gap in the mountains in through there. And so this one here, plains, mountains, low income, excellent resources, more magic sites, and river is high income. So the income here is 130, which is actually pretty good, and resources 119, which is also pretty good. For us, back at Nidavangr, Nidavangr has got like an income of 482 and a resource of only 136. We're not getting much resources in here. We do need to take the what's called the cap points to get the resources. Midge Fens is swamp and mountains. So swamp, very low income, hinders movement, more magic sites though, and mountains, low income, but excellent resources, more magic sites. So these will be important to us. They won't give us money, and money will be important to us as well. Then we actually have two with it looks like they're farmlets or farmland. Yeah, so we've got terrain is farmland and river. This is going to be very high. You can see down the bottom there, high income, low resources, fewer magic sites. So this will be good for money. And this one here should be the same. Yeah, farmland and river. Again, we're looking at again, high income, low resources. Now, without having the Dominion in there, we don't know what those actual outcomes will be, but we'll pick that one up over time. Now, what to do? How are we going to tackle this? So if we go back into Nidavangr and back through here, we've got a few different things that we want to be doing all the time. Now, I would strongly suggest you go to your options and go to your preferences. I think I've got this one turned on, and turn on warn on end turn, just so you've got that one selected in through there. I also turn on map move on commander tokens. These are both off by default. This way, if I try to end my turn right now, if I go and press the end turn in through here, it will warn me that two commanders are doing nothing, which gives me the chance to cancel it. So I like to do that one. And my commanders, I can then see how far they can move. So this one can move 18, which is a long, long way, and 14 is pretty good, even with the actual army that he has. So what do we have? Let's have a look at the units we actually have. So we've got this is our Crow Clan Scout, and so this is a stealthy unit. We're going to be using this one as a scout. It doesn't do much really. It does have snow move ultimately. You can see there that this land has got snow in it already. This is just plains. Plains are just your stock standard default. But let's move this one off. I'm thinking we'll go across this bridge. We can't go across the rivers. Like the rivers are impassable. Like if we go and have a look through there, you can see there that they're solid blue. If they turn to light blue, it means that that the river is frozen over and we can walk across the river that way. But this one here, we can't go that way, but we can go across the bridge to there. We've got another bridge at the top. Let's go in towards the middle where we think there's going to be a lot more of these things, and we just sort of move our way up. It would be interesting to see what this gateway gives us as well. So let's just go and move this one across, and it's going to sneak across when we just do a left click. That's what's going to happen. And then the other one, I want to evaluate this guy. This one's only got leadership 75. Now this is not great. He can only take 2 squads in. And if we have a look at the actual squads themselves, if we go and press with Nidavangr selected, if we go and press T and look at the army setup, I should show it on here. This is T in through here. So the army setup is in this side. If we go and click on that one, and we have a look at the battle orders we can do for our different units in through here. We've got a fair group actually, which is quite nice. If we have a look at this, we only have box formation and skirmish formation. This is not good enough for me at this stage. So I'm going to spend a couple of turns and get things set up properly. And so I'm going to actually bring in I'm going to just build for 2 turns before I start to go anywhere. Now, what we saw when we actually had the recruitment, if I go across to the second one, which is recruit or R, get used to pressing the important keyboard shortcuts are R for recruitment, T for basically just looking at the current terrain or territory to look at your army setup, Y I'll go through in a little while. N is the next commander. They're the main ones that you'll be wanting to use all the time. F5 for doing research as well. So anyway, the commanders, we need to bring in a high level commander. The only one we have is this Nidavangr. We saw that one before with leadership 100, +1 morale and 3 squads. This is the guy that we want to have as our prophet, and he's going to be the one that will then lead the armies. So that's the best leader that we actually have in out of everything. No one else has got anywhere near that sort of ability. These are just not good at it. So we need to have one of these. So that's a bit of a no-brainer. Now this one is only 1 commander point. So we can see through here, for example, we can get we've got 600 gold in the treasury at the start. That's going to go down pretty fast. Only 136 resources, so we can't spend too much on those. The commander points, we've only got 2, but this is only 1. So I can bring another one in as well. So we might as well bring another scout in, which is 35 gold, 6 resources. This one here is 95 gold and 13 resources. Or we could start to then build another one of the magic users potentially. But I don't think I'll bother with that just yet. I think we'll just go with the Nidavangr. And I don't want to go with a second one, but I think I'll go with another scout. So that's now used up both commander points. We haven't used any of the holy points. The resources here, now this is low resources, high gold to get this guy. And I don't want to waste the time that we have. So I want to start to, every time we bring one of these, this province has 10 holy points to spend each month. Each sacred unit or commander requires 1 holy point to recruit. So each one of these we get reduces, again, the resources and the gold, but ultimately this is going to be super important. So that's, now we've run out of recruitment points, actually, is what we ended up running out of. So I can still set it up for the next turn, and I want to get a bunch of these. So we'll just get these geared up as well. And we'll have these fight with our main unit as well. So that's all we're going to do this turn. So again, just to summarize, we've basically got a bit of a plan to maybe either get gold or resources, depending on what's going to happen. We're in no rush initially to expand. We're just going to build up for 2 turns to get a profit with a type of leader that we are wanting. This one here doesn't have any abilities whatsoever, no redeeming qualities. So I'm happy with just defend. When I press N, he will just keep on coming up time and time again. When I press the end of turn button, he's just saying that he's doing nothing, but that's okay at this stage. Just go yes. Proclamation, so Phlegra is we can find out who's actually on the map easily just by having a look at the not the Hall of Fame, but not even the score graphs, but the nation, not the nation overview, the pretenders of the world. So we're up against a group of giants. This is Phlegra, the deformed giants. These are essentially cyclopses, so they're going to be difficult for us. Then we have Gunnar, who is the Tower of Avalon. These have got very, very good longbowmen, and they have pretty good sacreds as well, with unicorn riding sacred units. They're going to be tricky as well. So depending on who we find, we're going to have to then gear our army accordingly. We have good old Ulm. These are great to play as a new player. So they're going to have very, very strong armour. We're not going to be able to cut through that as easily as I would have wanted to, and then we have ourselves. So that's all we have on the actual map itself at this stage. Right, now at the end of the end of this turn, we've now got our new commander, so Helligrin. I'm going to send this one and make this one the prophet. So he'll actually now come in. He does have the leadership of 100. I want to bring if I just press T in this area, I want to bring all of these units into his group. I want all of these units into his group, and I want these units also into his group. So everyone will be with him. What we have is we've got 47 units so far out of possible 100. And if we have a look at this, if we now go back and click on these, we now have different formations. So I can make these into line formations as an example and start to move them around. I'll do that with nearly everything, actually. If I just go and left click on the Crow Clan archers, and I could make this, I'll make this into a line formation as well. Now, at the moment, if they go in there, if they go to sparse line, their morale will drop. If we just go back and exit for a second, what we'll see is that their morale is +1. This is so important in the early part of the game. So this is critically important. So we've got the morale of +1. We've got the, if we go and change the formation, I'll just show you this as well. If we make it into a sparse line and make it even more spread out, the morale goes down by 1. If we go back in and make it so that it's a skirmish formation where it's just a big open box, it also goes down by 1. If I just leave it as just a box formation, which is the default, it'll get it back again. And the double, hang on, just going to press T again. And the double line formation, which is where we have like two lines of the archers. This will then have and this one may be okay, but it does make them a bit of a target. So I don't really want them to be a target. And so if we go that way, that one is fine with morale. But let's just go back in and make this one into a line formation as well. And we'll leave them in behind the other group. The other one that we actually have is these undead or undying units. And I want to sort of have them come charging in to try to get to the back line. I'm going to put them on the other side, but not to take I want this one to take the damage. I want these to do the damage, and I want these to then come charging in. Now, I'm going to keep them as a box formation because I want them to just charge, basically. And so I want them to be fairly compressed. And so their battle orders will be, I'm going to tell them to explicitly attack the rearmost enemies. So that's what we'll do. Or if we could go after attack the enemy archers as an example. That would also be reasonable. I'll go rearmost. That way we should get to the commanders fairly quickly. So that's going to be their job, will be to charge forward. Now they're not fast, but they are strong. Hopefully these take up the damage, and then these guys get to do what they need to do during the actual combat itself. These here, I'm not going to give them actual orders, so I'll just get them to, that's as far forward as they can move, but I can give them orders if I wanted to, like attack rearmost enemy. One thing I might do with the archers is give them orders to fire and keep distance. So the squad fires missile weapons until their target comes close, then they withdraw to a safe distance and continue to fire from there. Let's just do that. But not to fire it. We're not going to give them specific targets. I think I'll just keep it like this. We don't know really what we're going to come up against. I'm half assuming we're going to end up, if we go after the gold, we're going to have to take on cavalry. And for our faction, that's going to be a bit difficult, I think, because these guys don't have a long-range weapon. And these have also got the javelin. So they're almost ranged as well. These aren't the best. It's not the best grouping that we actually have, but that'll be okay. Right, then we actually have another of the scout units. So let's move this one across this way. Yeah, so this one here, when we have a look, wow, look at this one here. This problem contains about 43. Now we know we've got accurate stuff in through here. So for us, this is very, very accurate information. So the army consists of heavy cavalry, militias, and light cavalry. The army appears to be commanded by Adolf the priest. So the cavalries, there's only 43 units, but a lot of them are going to be cavalry. A lot of them. That's going to be very, very hard for us. This one over through here, we don't know it yet because we don't have dominions, but it's about 60 units. Consists of mainly militias, light cavalries, and heavy cavalry. So there's still going to be heavy cavalries there. That's what tends to happen in farmlands. Back through here, it doesn't look too bad. This one here, we've got dominion, so we can see what's in through here. So the Seathberenders have scryed upon our enemies, and this province contains about 25 enemy units. The army consists of mainly heavy infantries and heavy cavalry. So there's still heavy cavalries there as well. We're surrounded by cavalry, unfortunately. The army appears to be commanded by just a mounted commander. So having this information does allow us to script fairly accurately. This area through here, 56 enemy units, consists mainly woodsmen and woodmen blowpipes. The army appears to be commanded by Elias, the Woodhenge druid. So we're going to end up with a bit of a barbarian type of attack, which won't worry us. That won't worry us much at all, to be honest. That one's an easy one for us. What we could do would be to actually go in with the original group, because we can't get from there back out. We actually waste a turn because they can only go down and then come back. We can't go across the mountains. So we waste an extra turn with that. I think we'll go for this. there's only 25 enemies, and the heavy cavalries are the weakest of those that are in there. So by knowing this information, it's just giving us a little bit of a clue as to how to attack it. And I think we could still do what we were doing. I might look, the cavalries are the important thing. I might change what we're doing. We're still going to get the profit in this next turn. Let's just go back to our recruitment. We now have 540. I do want to get myself Seath Berenda. So this one here, I think. Or do we go with this one? This one's 245. Oh, sorry, that was the same one, wasn't it? No, that's not the one I'm looking for. Which one was it? It's 11. Oh, they're both 11s. Okay. So this is water, nature. This is nature, earth. 245. That's 245 as well. Sorry, just had a phone call. But now we have to think. We've got low resources. We've got a fair bit of gold. I do want to get a magic user. We still have the Crow Clan. These are just a bit too expensive for me. I think I'm going to have to go with one of these. I think I might go with the other one, actually, with the water. Let's just go and get one of those. It's not going to matter much, to be honest. I just want to start getting things done. So that's going to then chew up a lot of my gold. These in through here, these are 45 gold, so I can still get a few. Now, I've got to think, do I really want to get these? Because we're going to have a problem. We don't have anything with a long weapon. This one here is only, an axe is only length 1. So no matter what happens, we're going to have problems. And these are undisciplined anyway. These here are undisciplined. It really comes back down to these. They've only got the short sword. These are going to get smashed when they go up against cavalry. Everything we have is going to get smashed when they go against cavalry. We don't have anything to be able to sort of push the cavalry away from us. This is a very, very tricky thing for us, actually. This is the longest weapon we have, is these great swords. Can we take the damage? Let's try it with these. So let's just keep on getting these to go for the cavalry. So that's actually, yeah, we can still get a lot of these. That's as many as we can afford. And we'll just go and get more of the Wolf Clan Reavers as well. So that gets us down to 3 gold, 31 resources. Now you do lose the resources at the end of your round if you don't spend them all. So it's not ideal, but we have got, again, a big group of our sacreds. And that will be helpful with what's going to be going on. So, yeah, I'm happy enough with this. So we're going to get this one this coming turn. So we're making it into a profit. We're sneaking. We are defending. We'll just end our turn here. 2 commanders are doing nothing. Okay, this is where it's a problem. N. Press N. That one we know. This one here, I did mean to move off. And I want to move up. We've got a bridge there. So let's move into this location. We'll just sneak up into there. There's also another plane that goes into the underground at that point. All right, that's all good. Yep, so we've only got the one. We'll just end our turn in here. All right, so Ulm has made a profit, and so have we. So an unexpected event has now occurred in Nidavangr. So we'll have a look at this one through here. A spring fairy has been sighted, spreading joy and laughter in the land. Growth has grown and luck has grown. So that'll be just temporary, but it'll be there for this turn. So when we have a look, we're going to have a bit of extra luck, a bit of growth. Cold is still growing. We've still got a bit of productivity, so we're going to be getting some resources. It's time for us to attack, guys. We're going to be attacking Scraw Point in this instance. I will find a way to attack this with something else at some stage. The Dominion will start to spread over time. Dominion is still only one Dominion at this stage. It's sort of spreading out, but it will get stronger. There's 2 Dominion there, which is actually good for us as well. Having the extra Dominion does actually help us. Now, it gives us 1 extra life with the units we're going to be going and attacking with. It may be more by the time we get there. Now, this guy here, I'm going to set this one to research initially. And we're just going to go into research up here, or F5. And I'm thinking, God, what do we want? I think we need to get constructions. When by the time our god comes onto the field, we're going to be wanting him to be. We want to be construction 4, I think, fairly early, just so we can start to get items, and that will then help us with other things. Again, I probably could go through all the spells and try to figure the best way through it, but I'm wanting to play this one relatively quickly. So anyway, that's okay. We're just going to go and grab this group. I don't need to use this one. I'm going to use him to then shuffle units around. I'm going to move him into there. Back in through here, though, I'm just going to press T and put all of these back in this particular group, and then these back into this particular group. So we're up to 56 of 100 now. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually have this one set in a different location, because we know that we've got heavy cavalry. And we know that the heavy cavalry tends to be coming around the flanks, and will try to hit these units. And so I'm going to tell them to attack cavalry, which is a bit unusual. In fact, I might just, I don't know which direction they're going to come from. So we'll have them attack the cavalry. With this one in here, I might just change that to just a box formation, just so we can get around the side of it very easily. So wherever the cavalry is, our guys will then sort of come charging in. So we'll just go back, select those. They're not going to attack the rear, they're going to attack enemy cavalry. And so that, I think we've got the best option here. Now, the other thing we want to do is we actually will have the leader. I'm just going to go back in and select him separately. Just go and press escape. And with the leader through here, I'm going to change his battle orders. We're going to cast a specific spell. We want to bless everything. And we're going to make a divine blessing for everything like on the map. And so he's already blessed automatically, but we need to do a divine blessing for our sacred units. And then I'm just going to have him just cast whatever spells he wants to. So they do a good job of this. And I'm going to go and move him into this position in here. So he's sort of going to be close with these guys, I think. So we'll sort of keep him around there somewhere. All right, that will be good. So we've got these units behind. They'll then come forward to whichever. I'm sure the cavalry will probably be on a flank to try to get in around to this particular group. So whichever flank they're on, our undying troops will then sort of take them on. Now, at the moment, the Dominion is only two Dominions in where we're going, which means it's only got one extra life. We'll have a look at that when we go into the battle. So we'll have a bit of a deep dive into this particular battle and just analyse what does happen. It's always a bit of an unknown, but we are moving in with this group. So everything's in our favour with this little battle. Even this one here is not terrible. There is, like, the heavy cavalries are listed low at last. The light cavalries are more like archer type units, and that is going to be a problem for us. Anyway, we're doing this one first. So just go N, we've got this unit. Okay, we do actually have a big piece of, I don't know if that extends off somewhere, maybe not. Let's just go into Oaklands and cross this bridge and see when we can find the enemy. Next as well, so we have the scout in through here. Let's go across this way. In fact, let's go to the desert of cliff dwellers, and then we'll go up into the middle area. So we have to sort of scout the words, and then we still have this one unit back in through here. I can give him things like patrol province or do something like that if we needed to, just so he's got something to do. But he doesn't need to. I'll just leave him on patrol. It's not really going to help in this instance with anything that's going on. So now we're going to start expanding. It's important that one thing I should show as well is that we have a fortification. If we click on the fortification here, we can see that it's got an administration of 45. This is important, and the reason that this is important is that in around us, where we've got like the different resources, when we see that it's got resource of 119, actually this one here has only got 74, that one's only got 29 and 8. So the resources here are terrible. If we need resources, we end up getting 45% of their 119 once we claim this, coming back into this in through here. So we should find that our resources here will go up by that amount essentially. So we've got 136 in there at the moment. 45% of those is going to be about 55-ish, maybe 60. And so we should see next time close to 200 resources, hopefully. Hopefully that will work out. Let's just see what actually happens. So it's now summer. So battle in Scrawl Point. Let's view the battle. Now I'm going to do a few things here. I'm just going to pause it to start with, and we'll watch what actually happens here. So these guys are moving forward. The reason they're moving forward so much is they've got combat speed of 12. These have got only a combat speed of 10, so they're going to be a little bit slower than the others. Now, where are their cavalry? The cavalry is in the middle, and it's just going to come charging through the middle here. And they've got two commanders at the back, so there's not very much cavalry that we have to contend with. These guys also then move at 12, so they're going to be sort of coming back through. And what I want to do is I want to turn on a few of the settings. So I want to turn on the team coloured squares, so we can sort of see the colours. Show the grid. I think is useful to sort of see how many people are in each square. And then show the combat round as well, just so we can sort of see it. Now we have different battle logs, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to start with battle log number 3, which then shows me basically all the different hits. So let's have a look and see what actually happens here. It's important for us to analyse how we went with our scripting. So we've got a line of them through here. Now the reason I've kept these as a bunch is because I'm trying to minimise the frontage for the cavalry, and we know that there's no range units going to be attacking us. So I don't have to worry about them being bunched together. So let's now just unpause. Now I can pause, I can go slow as well. Like slow-mo is Z, and X is extreme slow. So if I just press space, I'm just in normal speed. Now we should see our guys get close enough, and then they're going to start firing. So they're firing, and they're just firing at whatever they think is the most powerful. Now they may miss, but we'll see what actually happens. Now Hellinger has now cast Divine Blessing, and so all of the units are hit with Divine Blessing, but it doesn't do anything for these units. Nothing changes with these. Back in through here though, all of these are now have gone from Sacred to Blessed. And when we click on the Blessed settings, we like blessed effects always will give an extra morale of +1, but we now have affliction resistance of 3, and so that's going to be something that it won't really affect us here in this combat, but we do get the extra morale. And this guy also just comes in with, he's already blessed as well, essentially. So here we'll then sort of start to lead what's going on. These guys are coming in at an angle, and our guys will then try to take these ones on. So we're going to be sort of coming in against these cavalry. They'll probably end up hitting these first, which is fine, the way that they're actually being positioned. So they'll actually smash through these before ours then hit them. So they'll finish their charge when ours actually get there. Now these move very, very quickly. These move combat speed of 23. So more than double what these are. Like a lot more than double. So they're going to close that gap very, very quickly. Let's just see if there's anything else that comes up through here. Now we are hitting. So the Crow Clan archers hit the heavy infantry with a ranged attack for 5 points of damage. Now we hit one in the leg for 0 points, and we hit another one as well for 5. So we're doing damage in here, which is good. We want to do as much damage as we possibly can. And so keeping the archers working, and you can see there the dots is showing the 2 injured units. Now what I can do is I can go and click on these and just see exactly what happened. With that selected, I can press V and see what the die rolls are, for example. And so this one here, so the Crow Clan archer hit the heavy infantry with a ranged attack with the short bow in the leg for 5 points of damage. And the damage roll was 11, which we saw there before with the damage from the actual crossbow. +9 is what's called a DRN, which is a Dominion's random number, and that might be 2. That's pretty. Like it starts off with 2 dice, but can get more. Now they had a protection roll of 12, where they actually ended up with a. Sorry, the protection is the armor, so they've got good armor, but they also then have the and they only rolled a 3, so they would have rolled a 2 and a 1 on 2 dice for that DRN. So that's a very, very bad roll. and so we end up doing the difference between that, if we sort of add those together, ends up being 5 points of damage. So 5 points of damage was done on the leg, and there's a chance that nothing actually happened to it. If we do beyond 5, I'll show you that when it does come up. So we're still sort of aiming again. These guys are now going to come in. They're now firing their javelins at the front here at this grouping, and we actually hit them. We did a good job there. Now these are cataphracted war horses, which are going to be very, very strong, and so the We hit them in the javelin, like in the body, for 6 points of damage. Now, this is where it gets a bit trickier again. We can see there the 6 was there, but it's probably moved on. I think it's this one here. If we just go and press V again. No, it wasn't that one. It should have been that one, actually. Oh, the Warhorse V. Yeah, so this one, it got hit for the 6 points of damage there. And so what actually happens in through here is the Warhorse is size 5, so it's a massive, massive horse. The actual rider itself is size 3. And so there's almost a 2-to-1 chance it's going to be the horse that gets hit and not the rider. And so the Warhorse has got its own protection aspects. And so this one actually, when we have a look back at the V, if we press V again on this one, we can then sort of see that the Wolf Rider clan hit the Cataphract Warhorse with a range attack of a javelin in the leg for 6 points of damage. And so again, we rolled really, really well in through here with 13 plus 12 for our roll, which means we would have rolled more than. It's complicated. I won't go into the reasoning, but this number you can get lucky and get beyond the 2 dice. This would actually be beyond the 2 dice. This is actually 3 dice to get to that level. What it is, just very, very quickly, a DRN, which is what most of the die rolls are when there's random numbers in the game, is 2 dice, 2 6-sided dice are thrown. If a 6 is thrown, you take the total number, like in this case, let's just say in this case it was a 5 and a 6, to get to, so 5 and a 6 would get to 11. We then take we take 1 off the number, so that would take it down to 10, and then you roll that, whichever dice, however many of them, you roll that dice again, and if you keep on rolling 6s, you keep on rolling again, but subtracting 1 each time. And so we could have very easily rolled a 5 and a 6, then rolled the 6 again for another 2 to get the 12, if that makes sense. We can't just end up at 12 without rolling like an extra time because of the -1. I don't know if I've explained that well. Anyway, that's what the DRN is. This is a good roll. Because the protection and the damage, like the damage amount that's going in and the protection is the same, it all comes down to the random number, in this case 6 points of damage. So that's been damaged a little bit. Damage is super important overall for morale. So let's just continue on. So we're seeing more damage in through here. Our archers are continuing to aim at this group. So they're going to be taking more damage in through that other side. Okay, actually in this case we did actually hit one of the actual cavalry riders with a javelin, but didn't in the arm, but didn't do any actual damage. So little bits of damage being done in through here, which is good, and they haven't even hit yet. But what we'll soon find is we will actually find that this one will now charge in. This one here has got a lance. And so if we look at the lance, this is a charge bonus for the first strike. So the charge damage bonus depends on the combat speed and size. The bonus damage is linked to half the strength of the charging unit. And so it's basically going to do a lot of damage when it does come in. It's a heavy weapon, so it actually does even more damage. Anyway, there's all sorts of different things in there that will apply. This will hurt. When they hit out our units, we should expect a lot of deaths across the front line here. And remember, yeah, look at this, big numbers. Big numbers. So the heavy cavalry hit the Wolf Clan Reaver in the body with the lance for 32 points of damage. Now, if we want to see what that one was, we can go back to these units and have a bit of a look to see, did this one do the damage? It missed, actually. Attack versus defense. So that was the 2-hit factor. I won't go through the specifics, but essentially, let's go V there. Yep, so this one here, what happened, this is actually the chain of events that happened through here. The heavy cavalry hit the Wolf Clan Reaver in the body with a lance for 32 points of damage. The target was killed. First of all, it has to get a hit. Now, it tried to roll, like if we had been able to roll, this is the attack factor of what our attack, this is their attack with plus a DRN versus our defense versus a DRN. So can we dodge out of the way or not? Almost. We almost got out of the way. So the charge increases the damage by 10, so we end up with an extra 10 because of their charging. And then the damage roll was 26 plus 20, so versus the protection roll of 9 plus 5. So this is a big DRN number that was rolled. And so massive damage. We don't have anywhere near those hit points. Bang, they're gone. And so this is what we're going to be seeing a lot, is these guys are going to get absolutely smashed before these guys get here. But this is fine. We sort of knew that was going to happen. They're there for that reason. I don't really want to be risking these guys too much just yet. So battle affliction chance of 3. Reduced chance of getting battle afflictions, and plus we also then have, we've got 1 scar soul left. We can die once because it's 50% of whatever the dominion is. By the way, we can look at the dominion and see what that actually is. We can go to weather and scales. Dominion strength is 2. Halve that for the souls, and we've got one extra life. So there we are. We're going to be coming in. There's another one that's now died as well. Now our guys will start to get in. We've got a few of them now getting in, and we should now start to see these Nithabeds are now going to be trying to hit the cavalries. So they're going to be coming back in. These guys have stood up fairly well. The charge is now finished. There we go. We've smashed and destroyed the horse in that instance, and we've just now got the rider. So the Nithabed hit the cataphract horse in the body with a great sword for 20 points of damage and killed it. And so this is these guys in through here. There we go, they're smashing through them now. So we took a lot of damage from that front line, and we're now just whittling them away. Here comes their heavy infantry. They've taken a lot of damage from the various, in fact even these have taken damage from the archers. So the archers are aiming at these guys. Yeah, so they've taken a bit of damage through there with the war horses. The war horses are actually okay. So this is... what they'll happen is they'll come up, and then by this stage these guys will then deviate off now and start to fight these as well. But the rest of them will go after the cavalry. There we go. Some of the horses are now running. This is going to make some of them start to want to rout. So that one routs anyway. So this one's got the morale has dropped, but the rest of the group is not, like, the individual horses can rout, but not the actual group itself. And so this guy has still got his morale up, but this will start to go fairly soon. Now we actually do have a lot of damage that has been done to our units. In fact, there's a Wolf Clan Reaver that's now got a chest wound, etc., etc. But we've now got one of our units. Now, when did that Reaver take the damage? Let's have a look and see what actually happened here. So he's down to just 3 points. So his basic maximum hit points is 15, so he's taken a lot of damage. If we go and have a look, now he has still got 1 scar soul left. If we go and press V, we can see what's happened through here. So he's hit the horse. Infantry attacked him, but he repelled it with his great sword, which is great. He just got exactly the right number. They then miss him, so somebody else then has a crack at him. He didn't manage to repel, but they then missed it. He managed to dodge out of the way. He then misses the heavy infantry, so he didn't. His attack roll wasn't enough. Then the heavy infantry got hit in the arm with a broadsword for 8 points of damage. So he couldn't repel, so he didn't quite get the repel number. Only missed out by 1. The attack only just got through, so we didn't quite dodge out of the way. And then we have the actual damage. Now, when you hit an arm or a leg, only half of the actual total hit points, remember 15, so they got through and did 18 points of damage, but the damage increased to 23 because of slash damage, but the damage exceeded the maximum possible hit area, so only half the damage gets applied. Otherwise that would have killed him normally, and we would have then used one of the soul areas, but because it was an arm hit, that actually then goes through and actually only does half the damage. Now, normally, if it does something like that, it would cut off his arm, but I think this is where our bless has helped us to not have that affliction. So I think that's actually sort of happening through there. Then there's been another miss coming back in through this other side, and then we've got hit in the body for another 4 points of damage in through this other side. So yeah, there's some interesting things here with morale negated repels. There's all sorts of stuff now happening in with this particular unit. But if we have a look at him, like, there's no afflictions, otherwise it would show a heart showing that his arm had been chopped off or something like this. But this I think saved us the affliction resistance. Otherwise I think we would have lost an arm with that attack. I hope that all makes sense. There's so much that goes on in this game. It's just incredible. It's you don't have to know all this stuff, but it's I like it. I like it. So he's actually in a bad way with his hit points. What else we can see? The defense skill. He's been harassed because he's been hit by a number of different players, a number of different times. That's going to impact his morale as well. But we are cutting through them now. Now we're still. Whoops, sorry, I keep on doing the wrong thing here. Just get the arrow keys. This one has also now taken damage. Now we can expect that these guys will take damage in these fights. It's just we nearly got this thing finished. We've done a lot of damage. I don't think we've lost any of our actual Nithobleds. Yep, so that's fine. We've got commanders now in the middle. So I don't think any of the Nithobleds. Yeah, we're doing a lot of repelling with these great swords. This is fantastic. Now we couldn't really, like this one's only got a broadsword. This one has now taken a. This one's now been crippled. Not so much the warhorse. The warhorse has got a chest wound. So these guys are going to die very, very quickly now. So the two, actually this one is still one of the original cavalry. They're trying to run away. They can't quite get away. So their morale has now dropped. The warhorse itself is running away as well, of course, because they're in command of this particular unit. The lance is length 3, so our guys couldn't even. We can't repel against the lance. We don't have. Oh, there we go, smashing them. So we're now sort of breaking through, and we have to be a little bit careful of the archery that we don't get friendly fire. Yeah, there's a big friendly fire there. So there's here we go. So a Crow Clan archer hit the Nithobled with a range attack. I said for naught. Okay, no, I saw a 23. I thought it was one of ours. So we did get hit, but nothing actually happened. Right, so we didn't get to see if there was anything where our guys actually ended up losing any of their lives. We've still got the other one that was way back over here with 3, so he's actually still in the fight. And that's pretty much the fight over. So I'll just press Q, and let's actually see what the results of this one were. So you can see through there, we actually ended up losing 5 of the Wolf Clan Reavers. So we did okay. I thought we'd lose more, to be honest. But I think we've got a lot that are injured. They did 8 deaths. They killed 8 of the enemy. The heavy cavalry ended up killing 3. That means that there will be a portion of them that will have been killed by our own archers by friendly fire. In that case, that's what that would tend to mean. That 2 of them actually ended up being probably finished off with just cavalry hitting them accidentally. Sorry, archers hitting them accidentally, potentially. Could have even been javelins or something that we threw as well. Otherwise, it should show up there. Okay, so let's go and we've already viewed the battle. Let's just go and exit, and we'll do one last little thing over through here. We'll analyse what we've seen. So if we go back into here and press T, now we've got a few different things we can do through here. I'll just go Shift. Shift question mark. There's different. These are so useful. These little things in through here. So it's worth having a look at these and what they all do. The first one selects all the units in a squad, so you can sort of just go and select everything in the squad if you needed to. C selects all the crippled units in a squad, which means the ones that are going to struggle if you have to go over difficult terrain. D is to select all the diseased units in the squad. So that's something if you, for example, are starving or something like that, you may end up with diseased units. E is select all the experienced units in the squad. So some of the units over time will level up, and so that way you can get all the experience. L is for the limping units, which aren't quite as bad as crippled. Crippled means that they've pretty much lost a leg. Limping means that they're limping along and they're a little bit slower. It usually means that they can still walk around with the army, but they're slow in battle. M is select the slowest units in the squad. So if you've got like a whole big group where you do actually have like limping units, you can actually put all them together, but you can also have units that are just naturally slow. S is all the starving units in the squad, so you can move them maybe out of a fight, out of an area. W is all the wounded units in the squad. W is a bit of a catch-all for most things. And so then you've got like Alt plus click and double click is select all of the same type. Shift click is select a range of units, and return is deselect any unit. So those commands are super useful. Let's have a look and see where we are with this. Now, what I need to do is I need to hover over one of the units in the squad. Let's just start off with C. Anyone crippled? Yes, there is. This guy over here he's crippled, which means that he's pretty much lost a leg. And so his abilities, his combat speed is now 2. His match speed is still technically 14. That's to show sort of like what the cost is to sort of move around. I don't know if that's actually accurate. I think he would struggle across some terrain because he's gonna have a very, very difficult time. So a unit with combat speed 10 can move almost 10 squares at the same time it takes to cast a spell or do an attack. In this case, he's extremely slow. So we may not want to have him in the fight. Let's just go and press return at enter. The other thing we can do is now press W and see how many got wounded. Look, it's still going to be the same people. Like we're still going to have this one's got battle fright, which will then reduce his morale. If you have a look at this one through here, the battle fright is a -5, which is actually fairly big. That's going to then reduce the morale overall a little bit. It's the average morale of everyone in the stack that matters. I think we'll still be okay with that one. This is the one that we looked at before that was crippled. This one over through here, if we have a look at it, this one has got a limp. So his combat speed is only 5. Still okay, but it's going to be a bit slower than the others. And then we've got this one here who has got a chest wound, where the chest wound will then have his encumbrance goes up and his strength goes down. So with the chest wound, his overall strength, which means that his attacks will be less. So 16 and 12 versus 17 and 13 in through there. And the encumbrance is just going to make it so that he gets fatigued faster than the others with that chest wound. So his encumbrance goes up a fair bit. So still okay, but just not great. So this is so useful to see this. Let's just go and, okay, they're done. These ones took the main brunt of the attack. Hopefully none of these have got any problems. So we'll just go and, this is why we went with the bless strategy that we had gone with. I'll just go and press enter there. This one here, if I just go and press W, yeah, no one's wounded there at all. What about these guys? And none of those got affected. So it's only this unit here. It's only 5 of those units, or 4 of those units that got impacted. Now, if we wanted to, what we could do is press, for example, all of the slowest. So if I press S, actually was it S? Was that? No, that's their base movement. So the S is not a problem. In this case, I think we're actually okay to move this one around as is, and there's just going to be some stragglers when they go into actual combat. If we wanted to, we could actually move them out into another group and have them picked up somewhere else. They'll still always have that affliction, but we can actually manipulate this now for what we're doing. If you are wanting to get into the game and actually really get immersed into it, this is a good way to do it. Right, so that one there was interesting. We did get there. These were effective. We almost lost one. We really don't want to be going into any place that's got less than 2 Dominion. This one's only got 1. This one we've now got 3. That one we've only got 1. And we've got 2 in there. That one's only got 1 Dominion. And this one here is 43 enemy units. The army consists of mainly long-dead horsemen. The army appears to be commanded by Sai, the Mound King. So a difficult one for us. This one here we don't know much about, except we do have a scout there. So about 30 enemy units. This consists of mainly Wolf Tribe warriors and Wolf Tribe archers. So this is going to be mainly sort of like interesting sort of areas through here that are going to be mainly sort of not that great. I really want this. Did I pick units? I didn't get units last turn, so I've wasted a turn. This is one of the problems. I've got to press R here and make sure I pick up stuff, because I've now got double my goal, but I've been wasting the resources. Oh, there's that resource thing we were going to have a look at. We're now getting 251. We're actually getting more than we thought. So we're actually from here. It's 128. 45% of that gets added into the base that we had there before. And so that we're now seeing the 251 is dramatically more. So before we move into here, what I think we'll do, actually, I'm just looking at the time, I might call this episode to a close, I think. It's a bit late from where I am. I would love to have taken this as well. I really shouldn't have wasted that one turn there. That's a big problem. Let's leave it here, and I'll come back tomorrow and we'll try to take this area. This will be easier than this one here. This is going to be very, very hard. But once again, if we can get a big enough army just to soak up the damage, we'll be okay. Okay. Well, I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. I will catch you next time.